or the president and the vice president are not here, I'm gonna call the meeting to order with a roll call. Berger,
Here.
Carter, Heffron,
Here.
Johnson,
Here.
Moore,
Here.
Thomas. So now I'm going to call for an appointment for someone to serve as the
Chair of the meeting.
chair of the meeting.
I nominate Mike Moore.
Second.
You're welcome.
Guys were quick.
You've done it before.
Yeah, done it.
You've done it.
You've been deep.
Since there's a motion and a second, all in favor?
Yeah.
Aye.
All right, Chairman.
All right. I don't have any stuff in front of me, but, gonna welcome visitors. Thank you for coming. I think everybody's supposed to be here. We'll now open up our public forum, if anyone has anything they'd like to discuss in front of the board. Seeing none, we'll move on. I would accept the motion to approve the agenda.
I so move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed?
Is that
Brad's out there.
Okay. Have a motion to approve the minutes of the previous minutes.
You have your regular and your annual on there.
Oh, it's the-
I so move to approve the previous minutes.
One second, I second. Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? These are approved. No old business, we'll move along to new business, starting with our student representative.
Hi guys, I don't have a whole lot to talk about. All of our fall sports have ended now, volleyball's over, our football, any fall sports. But now our basketball, wrestling, you name it, those sports are starting. And then I just came from a student council state conference, and we had 17 kids attend. It was just 2 days, last night and then all today. And we kind of just went there and we went to breakout sessions, and it just taught us leadership and how to improve our student council. And then we are starting free tutoring services at the high school this week, so anyone can go there that needs help with the school. And then our girls for dance team competed at state solos. Kennedy Beeson moved into top 10, so she is going to go perform again and see where she places with that. And then FFA National Convention is this week, so all of our students are going Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I'm totally not for sure what they do, but I'm sure it'll be fun and they'll have a good time. And then we're having a blood drive and the student council is running it, and it is November 13th. I think anyone's welcome to donate, doesn't matter. And then us student council members are running a Halloween costume contest, and that's tomorrow, so anyone can dress up as they want, just has to be school appropriate. But yeah, that's pretty much what's been going on.
Where's the blood drive?
It's in our band room.
Okay.
Yes, yeah. Thanks.
How many times did you get scared on your bus drive this weekend?
He was good. He was a good driver. We got there and got back. That's what I
No one died.
Yes.
Do you know the FFA kids one? Minneapolis?
Yeah.
I get it.
I know that they do their conferences and they're really big and they're really good and they have a lot of fun, but
Yeah, that's okay.
yeah.
That's all right. I was told that at one time,
Yeah.
it left me.
All right, any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you guys so
Thank you.
much.
Okay, we'll move on to item B, presentation and approval of FY 24 audit.
I'll leave now. Okay.
Yeah,
Zoom
Paul,
in.
Paul Eater, we have a Zoom in here to go over the audit for us.
First question, can you actually hear me?
We've kind of,
Okay, I have to talk louder. That happens sometimes. Okay, can I actually share the screen so you can actually see the audit?
I think so, yeah. Yep, that worked.
Okay. That's much easier than me just trying to talk through something you can't see. As far as the audit report goes, we'll skip ahead to the actual auditor's opinion letter. You got the one that you want where we agree with the financials as they are presented. There are technically other audit opinions, but those are almost never issued. They did change the wording in it a little bit year to year on this letter, so it does not look the same year to year, but the basis of it is we agree with the financials as they are presented. Then you come into the management discussion and analysis. This is more just discussion on the financial statements. It does compare fiscal year 24 to fiscal year 23. So you can get a few comparison tables in there. But as far as those go, it does present, this is done at the full, comparing all activities of the government, including long-term debt and capital assets, are shown in this report. This is not the normal financials you would probably see on a monthly basis. We'll skip ahead. Starting on Exhibit C, this would be the balance sheet is what you would normally see out of your accounting software on a monthly basis. It is presented slightly differently, but the numbers are the same. You get both a balance sheet on Exhibit C and then an income statement on Exhibit E. This does combine some of the funds together. Capital projects would include both the SAVE money as well as PEPAL into one thing since they are spent for similar purposes. Management and student activity get combined as that into non-major since they are smaller funds, just due to the nature of the fund itself. On Exhibit G, this gets to show what your actual enterprise funds, which for you would be the school nutrition and then the 3-year-old preschool. The Government Accounting Standards Board has to show both a balance sheet and income statement and also a cash flow for those, which is Exhibits G, H, and I. Exhibit J and K would just be your scholarship fund. It's broken out separately since it's not available to pay the normal bills of the school. Then you get into the notes to the financial statements. This presents basically just a lot more description behind various things that will provide detailed explanations of long-term debt, capital assets, of your pension liability, as well as other disclosures. If you want to discuss any of those, I'm more than happy to provide additional information. Required supplementary information just as presents budget information as well as information on the other post-employment benefits and the pension liability of the district. These are required disclosures. Then we get into just the smaller funds of the district. Management, student activity, and the sport trust, those are just by the nature of the funds and what is available to them, they are smaller. Management fund can occasionally be presented separately if you are building up a large cash balance in there for some purpose. Schedule 3 and 4, the state has the statewide sales, service, and use tax. You might also know it as Secure Vision for Education. local option sales tax. They keep changing the name as they tweak the program a little bit. They have that presented separately from the physical plant equipment levy. They like to have a few additional reports done on this, on the sales tax money, just to see what districts are doing with the funds. The next schedule here is just on your activity fund. It provides detail of the various accounts within the student activity fund as to what specific revenues and expenses are involved there. Same with your support trust. And the scholarship, since you guys actually have both of those. Schedule 8 is a comparison year to year, going back for a 10-year period of the governmental activities. This would be your general fund, basically all of the funds except for the enterprise fund. It is not a perfect comparison year to year, since the state does like to change how they have you classify various expenses, but it does provide a general overview. Up next, you get the schedule of expenditures of federal awards. This is actually required by the federal government if you spend over $750,000 in federal funds. It just provides details about which programs you actually have and how much money you spent in that particular year. After this, you get into the internal control letters for both the governmental as well as the specific ones to the federal programs. Those ones primarily reference the various comments in the back of the audit report. Each year just lists which federal programs were your largest and most significant ones and what we had to test for that specific year. That determination is done based off of fairly lengthy steps you have to follow through and is outside the control of the district. As far as comments here, segregation of duties looks like it did stick around for that year. We do review this comment on a yearly basis. And then the next one is just negative student lunch account balances. The district does have significant negative accounts in the student nutrition fund. Those should just be reviewed to see if they can be collected or if the district wishes to change its procedures going forward. As far as other comments here, we noted one instance of employees being reimbursed at a mileage rate that differed from what the board policy actually established. And then business transactions. None of these appear to represent a conflict of interest, but they are still disclosed in the audit report on the basis that it's better to disclose them than to not. Certified enrollment, we noted that the enrollment data is overstated by one student. This one seems to be getting harder for districts to do since the state has changed the various reporting requirements and the time in which they have to inform you. If I would have to guess, I guess we'd probably see some form of this comment at probably 70–75% of the schools. The statewide sales tax, it just gets reported slightly different back here than what's actually in the financials themselves. The state just wants it broken out differently as part of their reporting that happens. And then we noted the instances of board policies that hadn't been reviewed in the past 5 years. Best procedure is to review those on a rotating basis and view them at least every 5 years. It appears that the district is working on catching up with those. Are there any other questions for me at this time?
That one thing you mentioned about the lunch, you know, we, more than normal, like, you know, if people owe money, how can you take care of that? You get blood out of the turnip.
That's a very difficult situation. I know the state has put out some guidance. But it's not unusual to see situations like that in schools, unfortunately.
Thanks.
Okay, any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
At this time, I would entertain a motion to accept and approve the FY '24 audit.
So moved. A second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those against? Passes. Mike, would you like me to continue?
You're doing just great.
All right, we're moving on to item C, director's reports.
Aaron, you wanna go first?
Yeah, mine's short and sweet. We've been in the process, usually this time of year, we start winterizing the concession stands, getting equipment ready to move that bad white stuff. I am in need of a few sub-custodians, so if you know anyone that's interested or just needs a little bit of persuasion, please send them my way. I'm working on finishing up summer projects, and we're planning to start submitting those to you guys as they come together. Pretty much it.
Aaron, what are you thinking on the substitutes? Is that like day, night, and just kind of?
Just days we can deal with, it's evenings. Basically, it'd be anywhere from, we don't ask sub-custodians to do a full 8 hours. It's just anywhere from 2 to 4, but mainly it's getting the hot spots like bathrooms and trash in certain specific situations.
Is that something, when you're looking at people, could that be something that could happen on the weekend as well, or not?
Yes, if it's on a Friday, sometimes my guys, if they have to miss, if they're sick on a Friday or they need the day off or something, I'm like, hey, you can save a day if you're willing to come in Saturday and do your cleaning. That way I don't have to find a sub or something like that. And that's even for a sub. If they can't make it Friday night, they could come in Saturday and do that as well.
One thing we're looking into is, right now, we've got some people that are internally full-time that would be willing to do it, but we're trying, unfortunately, that might mean overtime pay, so we're trying first to recruit some new bodies. But if we can't, we may end up needing to dip into that just a little bit to make sure it stays clean and taken care of. Anything else, Aaron? Kate, you wanna go?
Not a whole lot right now. If you have a chance to stop by the high school, we do have the new countertop displays there. Thanks Aaron for getting them set up for us. And another thing we've been working on is the increase in breakfast, offering the grab and go and the second chance. It seems to be going over pretty well.
Cameron?
No big projects going on right now. I just got E-rate, starting to put kids' numbers in, trying to plan for some RFPs and what we're gonna buy. Looking to probably do switches, the main switches of the other schools, but that's just all, 70% funded through E-rate. But other than that, it's kind of the big stuff on my plate right now.
Mike?
Not much. Sent my 3 newest bus drivers to Newton Hills last week because they were first time bus driving class. Mike remembers how fun that of an evening that was. Jared got his license this last week. He's already taken an activity trip, got his feet wet a little bit. Something that was kind of cool is PTO had their trunk or treat last week, and Renee McGran reached out to me asking if she could use a bus. She did the Magic School bus, so that was kind of fun. Usually not a lot of fun and exciting things to report about transportation, but I thought that was neat. We're kind of in a break on activities for a while, so maybe enjoy a few weeks of not so much craziness, but that's about it.
Jared, you're a good pivot point to the principals for your director report.
Yeah, most of mine's in there. I think the only kind of oddball stuff that maybe didn't make it in was our new wrestling mat that you guys approved a while back came last week. So we got that kind of rolled out, looks awesome. Decided to open that up this winter for our home dates. And up front, as Mike said, I had missed a couple days to go up to Mississippi to get my bus driver, but I passed, so that's good. And I took my first trip and didn't hit anything, and all the kids are fine, so we're good there too. Moving up to Ames for the Student Council Conference. It's my second year going up to that. It's a great conference as far as just a statewide conference, and they also in the spring hold district conferences. The 2027 Southeast District Conference will actually be in Centerville because Julie's daughter Sophia is our district representative right now. So this year will be in Oski in February, and then next year it will be here in Centerville, which will be awesome. But it's just great to see what all these different schools do and how they kind of engage their students, different ideas. I know the kids usually come back with lots of fun things that they want to try out, so it'll be good.
Moving on to item D, director principal reports.
Julie?
Don't have much to add. We started our pumpkin study, which we do every year, but it's really a fun one for the kids. And then they were able to go to Papo's to kind of help start that off. And so the kids had a lot of fun with that. And then Fire Prevention Week is always a big week for us. The kids really enjoy having the firefighters come and share with them. So we've had a lot of things happening for preschool, and we've had some good PD days, and looking forward to November's PD for my other side of my job.
Yeah, just a highlight on there. I think the two that I would highlight is we did bring back the yearbook this year. Katie Larson is our yearbook sponsor, and the kids did a really good job on that. We didn't know this first year how many there'd be, and I think like 60 or so, which is pretty good for the first year. And then we have some still left, so we're going to have at conferences that people can still buy. So I'm really trying to encourage that, but it will help us judge for next year how many we want to buy, because you got to buy them up front. But it turned out really well, and the kids did a really good job. So it's good to have that going again, and then having a sponsor for it is the biggest thing. I want to shout out, because I saw in yours too, Robin Spurgeon, who helps us set up our kindergarten. I think it's a picture from maybe you did, but the picture on there is our kindergarten students and our seniors, and that went really well last year, and everybody asked for it, and Robin asked for it to do it again, and it takes a little coordination, but it is really cool to see the seniors and the kindergartners together. So that was the other thing on there. And then the last thing, Julie Thomas from the AEA spoke, not just to Lakeview, but the associates throughout the district, and just heard really good feedback. Did last year as well. Julie Thomas really worked on behavior strategies, working with students that have behaviors, tough situations, and we really had good conversations. I know she's coming back several times, but we heard good feedback and that's what we're really trying to do. And Julie's pivotal on this is having those Fridays being important for our associates. This is a great district. The other districts I've worked at did not have associates work. They were off, and if we're going to be paying them, giving them good PD, because that's what they always ask for. Sometimes we have associates that come in with experience. Sometimes we have people just love kids, but they don't have any of that experience. So that's something they really desire, and we had good feedback. It was a good thing for all of our associates.
Okay.
I don't really have anything else than what was in my report.
Jenny.
Okay. We got to the end of first quarter, so we've got a lot of freshmen figuring out that grades matter. So we're doing a lot of pushing conversations with students that this is important at the high school level, and they're earning those 48 credits. Staff has been fantastic. We've set up with some Gear Up funds. We've set up some tutoring that's going to start tomorrow. And 4 days out of the week, we've got different staff members that are offering to spend their time helping students tutor, and Robin Spurgeon's been instrumental in helping organize that and actually schedule that. And we've got phone calls home starting tomorrow to try to encourage families to support students that need that. So that's a new thing that we're really wanting and hoping to get up and running in a very successful manner, so that we get kids passing courses that may be struggling a little bit right now. Want to give a huge shout out to our staff. I didn't put this into my report, but I think in the last 3 weeks, we might have had 2 days of school where we haven't had to try trying to cover courses and cover classes for people who aren't there. And so, and I don't mean to say people are gone. I mean, people aren't gone because they are not coming to work. The problem is we don't have a substitute pool. But staff has been amazing. We've multiple times sent emails out at 7:30 and asked for people to give up their prep time and cover, and we have yet not had that happen, knock on wood, right? But every time, staff is stepping up, they're going into classrooms that aren't their own, substituting for a period, giving up their prep period to do that, and really working with kids to try to keep kids engaged in the academic pieces that are really important. So super, super pleased with them, and I really appreciate them all stepping up. So I want them to hear that. If you see them, please tell them that that's exactly what we need at this point. Otherwise, we have a lot of kids in study hall, and that's really not helping us do academic things that we need to do. So our professional development at the high school, our building leadership team has been awesome. We're working in 3 areas: engagement, differentiation, and high quality instructional practices. So our building leadership team presented to our staff last Friday, super well received. We're excited to continue that. So that was a big success. I'm really proud of them for that. And then I know it seems like forever ago, but homecoming was since we had a board meeting. So when I was putting this together, I was like, wow, homecoming seems like it was a really long time ago, and Pancake Day as well. But you know what? Our kids are in really high demand from August to like last week, I feel like, right? So that's a little bit of a strain and a stress, and that bothers me in my head some about we have so many kids out doing things. But reality is they're doing awesome things. I mean, they're going down to the football field and making relationships with our kindergarten students just on the importance of school. So awesome. We've got so many kids helping with PACT. So we've had kids that are out and about doing awesome things, but I do feel like maybe that's settled a little bit. So now we've got a better focus on what we need to do in the building academically and just digging down. So.
Okay, any questions?
I was at the, I guess you'd call it the reception after homecoming, and I thought the students did an excellent job there.
Thank you.
Things went really well. And the folks that attended that were very, always, but still very impressed.
Good.
Where our students handle that.
Okay, moving on to item E, approval of the second reading of board policies.
We didn't have any changes in the first reading. These are just catching up with ISB on those.
Okay, motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I would entertain, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Moving on to item F.
This one's not exciting, but required. So we are fully up to date. These are the policies that we have to touch each year and look at, and Mark has reviewed each year. So they include long-range need assessment, which we'll be doing with our SIAC meeting this fall. Some more work at that. Parent and family engagement. It used to be called Title I engagement. Now they call it parent and family engagement. Educational records, who has access to those and how that works. Student directory information, and recently added student library circulation records. So just the policies related to those. No changes, just the annual, putting them in front of you to see that you've had them and to be able to turn into the state that we've put them in front of the board.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Passes. Moving on to item G, approval of at-risk and dropout plan.
So our district has had an at-risk and dropout plan for a long time, and it was kind of the plan that was in place. And I was at a statewide superintendent's meeting recently where somebody from the state said, hey, you know, we're gonna review your at-risk dropout prevention plans this year that are approved by your board every year. And about 5 people immediately put in the chat, wait, approved by the board every year? What are you talking about? Well, you need to be approving this through your board every year. This is a point of emphasis for us this year. So after talking to a variety of superintendents around the state, that was a surprise to everybody. So we've jazzed it up. We've got a cool little template that Grant Wood AEA worked on with their superintendents that we stole from, actually, oh gosh, I've lost his name. He was here as curriculum director. Rob Bush, thank you, because we stole from Rob Bush, because he goes there for his superintendent meetings and kind of put our information in there, just to kind of talk about what we do. Obviously, I think our at-risk and dropout prevention programming is a big deal to us as a district when you think about the amount of poverty in our community. But this just kind of hits all those items that the state wants to make sure that we're doing, using the same methods kind of always used. We do have some early intervening services, which is, we pay for a small portion of our interventionists at Lakeview using at-risk money. We pay for transitional kindergarten and our reading core there. And then academic advising, some of our assistant principal pay is paid out of at-risk. Some of our counseling staff pay, the regulate and return coaches, the student advisors, the alternative school teacher, and the alternative school associates are covered using at-risk and dropout prevention money. So we have those items in there. Just kind of the plan of how to use them and how to try to serve kids. Julie and I will probably continue to review this now that we know it's a yearly thing, and maybe we can make it even cooler looking for you by next year. But this one will meet the state's requirements.
So we approve the dropout time.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Moving on to item H, approval of weighted vote for director of District Number 2 for the AEA Board of Directors. I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea what the heck this is.
So actually, my first year, we got in the mail a letter for this, but somehow it got mixed into things and we didn't end up getting to vote on it at our meeting. And we were at IASB, and that was a question, because somebody had mentioned the board of directors at the AA that you get to vote on, and somebody was like, oh, well, we never voted on that. This year it came in by email, which is so much better, because then Lisa can see it, and then it gets in front of the board quickly. You'll notice from the numbers that our vote probably doesn't do very much, because it's weighted by enrollment, and the 4 districts in our area that vote for this director position are us, Davis County, Moulton Udell, and Ottumwa. Ottumwa controls 60.8% of the vote. So whoever Ottumwa votes for will be the representative, but there's only one candidate. What's her name again?
Shelley Morgan.
There we go, I was on the wrong attachment. So my advice would be to vote for Shelley Morgan.
I'm gonna be honest, I'm not voting, to me, this should die. I don't know her, I don't know what she stands for,
Fair enough.
I have no idea.
Fair enough. And like I said, at the end of the day, our 17-point-something% doesn't add up a whole bunch. So we could let it do that too.
I would entertain a motion.
I would move to table this item.
There is a date on it though,
Let's look.
isn't there?
There probably is. I think it's probably soon too. December 9th.
Oh, okay.
So you want to table it to the November meeting and see if we can get information
on her.
I'm cool with whatever, because obviously we didn't vote in the last one. And it didn't affect the outcome, as you can tell from the percentages.
Did you make that a motion? I'm sorry, I didn't.
I did make the motion to table.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second to table to our next regular meeting. Any other discussion?
Another option you would have, I mean, obviously there's a motion to table, but you could decide to abstain too. That would be an option too. Or we could table it to November and see if we can get any information on what she stands for. I'm good with that.
So who's going to get the information?
I'll probably just email someone,
Okay.
because I think they're the ones you nominated.
Yeah, I guess I would want more information because if it's not favorable,
I think so, too.
I want to vote.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes different boards,
I see
maybe
that's fine.
people that maybe they don't like public schools. Maybe they don't like the AEA. So I think if they're gonna be on the AEA board, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think we should find out something about it.
yeah, I don't think we've gotten anything about any stances or anything.
Any further discussion? You have a motion and a second to table this to the next regular meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Me.
I didn't understand that.
All right, moving on to item I, approval of personnel business procedures. Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, moving on to financial reports.
We just have some per diem in there. Yeah, is that, what do you get in for payroll?
Motion to approve financials.
I'll second that.
Have a motion and a second to approve financial reports. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed? All right, moving on down to superintendent report.
Okay, so I'm gonna keep mine pretty to the point of enrollment, this time around, because I emailed, just kind of an update on our certified enrollment. The initial predictions were pretty far off, for this year. So we are down, it's 55.6, I think is what the number ended up, it's a point something, is that 55.6 or 55.8? I wrote down minus 55, which would be another 400,000, for this year. I did a little digging, because it really, kind of irked me a little bit, it bothered me, and I went through to look at all of our students who were our students last year and aren't our students this year. And that was some interesting data to look at. 56 students who were our students last year have now moved to another community in our state or out of the state. 32 in-state, 24 out of state.
Wow.
15 are homeschooled. 5 are open enrolled to a virtual school, which is significantly less than I thought it had been. 12 open enrolled out to a different district, and 2 are dropouts in that time, which does not mean we're gonna give up on them. I think we've had plenty of conversations with kids that had dropped out one time to try to pull them back in. So all that is to say, like, I sometimes I take those numbers and I think, oh my gosh, what are we doing? We lost this many kids. But when you add in a larger senior class exiting, a very small kindergarten class coming in, which we're due to do the next few years, by the way, and 56 kids moving out of our district, really what happened, our open enrollment is basically dead even this year, open enrollment out. Open enrollment in, we gained a tiny bit of ground, but we're talking a weighting of a kid, so not a full kid. So it's not about open enrollment being the difference for us, it's about there actually being less children living in the bounds of our district, is what that tells us. So I did a little, went back to my specialist classwork, and I built a enrollment projection for the next 7 years, and we do have a few years ahead that could be kind of rough again still. When we did that projection and specialist, and Julie would have done the same thing in that same class, you project a lot off of live births that are attributed to your county, and we have a few pretty lean years coming up for live births. If anybody wants just for fun, I will tell you at least the progression model that I used when I did, this is the 7th year after I did it for my specialist using Burlington as the model. They went from 4,000 students down to a little over 3,000 students within that time. I was off by 60 kids and vouchers hadn't come out yet. So, and vouchers hit them pretty hard. So I was within like 1.5% or so. So I think it's probably pretty real. And it looks to say we're gonna be around 1,000 students 7 years from now, just from demographic changes in our community. So I think we'll have to consistently watch for attrition as a way to help make sure our system can afford what we have. So I will not be surprised to see an additional 40 to 50 student loss next year as a result of that. And doesn't necessarily take into account the fact that this year was a larger number of move-outs than had been the case. What I do is I average so like first grade going to second grade, I average that over a course of the previous 7 years. So this year was a big jump. If we have a big jump again next year, that average will go up and it'll probably be a more dire prediction. So Lisa and I had talked about whether we'd want to maybe bring in a demographic company to look at that with us. I think looking at live births, we're probably just better off to be pretty frugal for now and assume that we're gonna get to that 1,000 range, which is scary considering the district was 1,600 kids when I taught here not that long ago. So rural Iowa is changing, my friends. It's terrifying. So with that doom and gloom, I should end with a happy news.
I have a couple questions.
Yeah.
You mentioned the breakdown with your numbers, 56 have moved. What was the five students?
5 is open enrollment to virtual.
Okay, and then you mentioned 15 had moved to the homeschool.
Homeschool, yeah.
Compared to
Some with
last
a
year.
program, some not with a program.
Okay.
Yeah, just not even necessarily an increase in those number of students for the district, but these were 15 individual children who were enrolled last year who aren't enrolled this year.
Can you give me a breakdown sometime when you?
Yeah,
like where
I
it
can just
came
print
from,
this
maybe
for you.
they come in like out of, K3, 3-5, where they,
It's-
just whenever you have time.
Yeah, I've got it all listed out
Okay.
here. It's pretty well a smattering from all of them. But I can give you that.
Okay.
I've got all my count if
Yes. I
in
would
my functions in here,
Okay.
but,
I'd like that.
it's district-wide. Surprisingly, we had a lot move to Texas, was one that I saw a lot of. I don't know what's going
One
on in
family with
Texas.
6 kids.
Well, and that may be it. I think Julie had mentioned there was a possibility of maybe some cousins going together or something, and,
And some of
so.
Christine's kids, or Tina's kids moved back to Texas.
Mhm.
And she had more here. And then Jessica's kids moved to Texas.
But I'll admit, going through that data kind of made me feel a little bit less like, oh my gosh, what's happening? Where are all these kids going? And more realizing,
Yeah.
people are going where there's jobs and opportunities for them and doing the things they can. There wasn't as much of that we could have changed as I had thought we could have.
So what, with your superintendent group that you're in, how is ours compared to the others?
Everybody's down for the most part again this year. Some are down big like we are. Depends how lucky you were with your senior class last year. Generally, everybody's bringing in significantly smaller kindergarten classes. It's whether or not you graduate in a big senior class. And we graduated a good sized senior class and then had all those move outs. So yeah, they're all down. I haven't gotten like set numbers from everybody yet, because usually certified happens at the beginning of October, but you don't really know your final number until the end of October, because they're kind of mashing out the last couple things. We meet the first week of November in Fairfield, so I anticipate this is gonna be a pretty big topic of conversation, just from talking to the few that I know well enough that we call about once a week, and like, oh my gosh, how did this go for you? It's looking pretty scary in our tier of counties, I'd say.
So the move-out number that you gave, that was more than the years before?
Well, I feel like I should be careful, because I've kind of worked off of feelings on what I thought I was signing a lot of and all that before. But again, it does feel like it's a larger number, so I would need to, and I'm not exactly sure how I would track that now, because Infinite Campus is really good about listing how they exited and showing me inactive students that way. So I'd need to figure out how to get that on some of those, but it's a larger number than the number of enrollment we lost. So if you think about it, that means that our new people moving in just didn't quite keep up with our people moving out. Plus the senior kindergarten thing, which live births tell us we got a couple of small kindergarten classes coming up. Probably smaller next year than this year, at least. So that was depressing, and I feel like I should end on a happy note, and I'm sorry for that. But I'd say the happy note is I think we had a really good administrative team meeting last week. We were kind of working on some things that we wanted to accomplish, and had a really good meeting. Everybody's voice heard at the table and everything, so I feel like you got a good team of principals to kind of guide your staffs and students through what could be some rough times without good leadership. So I feel good about that.
Anything else for Mark?
Sorry to be a bummer.
We don't know. All
So
right.
enrollment is, I'm backing up to the numbers,
You're good.
enrollment's down 55.6.
Or I can't
From
remember
last
which
year.
one, yeah. Yeah. What I don't have counted here is the new, like anybody that moved in. That's what
Okay.
that's what you're
Okay.
seeing,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's where you're.
Because I'm like,
Yeah.
these
You're like,
numbers
First I
have-
was
way
like,
more
this
than
isn't
that.
adding up.
these
Yeah.
have some more, okay,
No,
gotcha.
yeah.
It's in comparison.
So that would be the difference that our move-ins, you know, whatever the difference between
Got it.
those would, in theory, be.
Thank
based
you,
on our move-ins.
thanks for your patience on that.
No, I'm sorry, I
No,
communicated very well.
that's,
I played with numbers all
I tried to
Friday
write it all
afternoon
down.
to look at this and then got really depressed and. So,
All right, we're gonna move on to item 9, board member takeaways.
This will probably be the last one, I guess. Right? So. I don't know, I've really enjoyed my time and I've learned a lot, participating in this board and getting to know people and how things operate. Really, it will help me the rest of my life with things, and maybe I'll run for something like this again. I appreciate the things that happen, like you ran those numbers right there. I wouldn't know how to find those and do those, they have all that. And, what it tells me, yeah, rural Iowa is, it's not growing. Rocky, whatever. So, with that said, I'll let you turn it over to somebody else.
I don't know. Well, since it's my last board meeting too, I just think, it's been enjoyable, you know, yeah, you learn a lot, and there's a lot more to learn that I'm not gonna learn, but I'll keep up with it. And I think it's really important to support our public schools. I'm really kind of afraid of our public school system in this state. I think the tax on it are unfair, and I think and so I'm glad that we have a system here that I think is doing a good job, and we have good people here. And, so I just, you know, I was actually somewhat involved in trying to recruit people on the board and trying to find people that I thought that would be good for it. And I just think that, I enjoyed the time I had here. Thanks.
The declining enrollment thing, I remember when we used to talk about 10 per year. 50, just 55 sounds like the budget, just the bottom fell out. But in some of the other groups that I work with, it seems that many of them have a priority of attracting more people to Centerville. And I just wonder, I know we seem to deal with them once they get here, and we do a pretty good job, I think. But what are we doing to help those other groups attract people?
Yeah.
But when, you know, what are we doing? I know when people want to move to a community that have kids, they look at schools, they look at all the other amenities, you know, the leisure activities. But I just wonder if we're telling our story as well as we could.
I'd like to thank our outgoing board members. It's been fun getting to know you and wish you well, and you'll have to watch us on the pitch. I'd like to thank Mark. I don't know if everybody else knows this, but on Sundays we get these nice little emails. He kind of brings us up to date on things, and I know that he'd rather be watching football, but so I.
Not this season.
Yeah. So anyway, you put a lot of time into that on your weekend, so that's greatly appreciated. And we have an important election coming up with a lot of new seats on the school board, so make sure you do your homework and know who you're voting for and what they're about, because they have important decisions to make.
Talk to all the people you know.
Yeah.
I saved myself. Oh, crisscross there. Tim, Tom, thank you seriously, very, very much from a community member. Thank you for serving, you know, on the only board that, you know, we don't get paid, we, you know, this is, you do it because you love it and you wanna make an improvement, so thank you very much for doing what you did. So, I'd like to say good job to Mark and Lisa and whoever else was involved in the, audit, so, great audit, so. That's all I have. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. You know it's your last time.
There you go.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.